So let us uh, continue with the lipid classification. Okay, continue with lipid classification. So you already seen simple lipid, that is fats and oil and glycerol. So fats and oil and uh, the waxes. So under compound lipid, next one is the compound lipid number 2, which contains as a base fatty acid and alcohol. Along with that, it contains conjugate compounds. Under compound lipids, it contains fatty acid, alcohol, along with that phosphate, nitrogenous base, carbohydrate and protein. Phospholipid contain phosphate. Okay, so they are compound. So in addition to fatty acid, alcohol, they also contains other conjugate compounds like carbohydrate, proteins and all. So compound lipids are classified into phospholipid, glycolipid, lipoprotein and other complex lipid. So under phospholipid, glycerophospholipid and sphingophospholipid, two are there. Okay, so phospholipids we will see. So what is the classification? Where are you now? Under compound lipid, they contain fatty acid, alcohol along with the other conjugate compound like carbohydrate, proteins and nitrogenous base. Under compound lipid, phospholipid, glycoprotein, lipoprotein and other complex lipid. Under phospholipid, there are two types, glycerophospholipid and sphingophospholipid. So glycerophospholipid contains glycerol and fatty acid as the base. Along with that, it contains phosphate, because hence the name phospholipid. So glycerol to fatty acid plus phosphate plus nitrogenous base. Example for glycerophospholipid is lecithin and cephalin. And a second type of phospholipid is sphingophospholipid, which contains sphingosine as alcohol, hence the name sphingophospholipid. Okay, so sphingophospholipid, so hence the name sphingophospholipid. So this sphingophospholipid contains sphingosine, fatty acid, phosphate, nitrogenous base. Example, sphingomyelin. Okay, so sphingophospholipid contains sphingosine as the alcohol and fatty acid along and phosphate. Then what is the conjugate compound? Nitrogenous base also there here and sphingosine, hence the name sphingophospholipid. So sphingomyelin, which is present in myelin sheath of neuron cell. Sphingomyelin present in myelin sheath of neurons. Okay, so that's hence the name sphingophospholipid. So under phospholipid, glycerophospholipid, example lecithin and cephalin. Sphingophospholipid, sphingomyelin. So structure no need to worry, it is not there in your syllabus. Structure you have to remember the classification and at least one or two example. So under compound lipid, next is the glycolipid. They contain carbohydrate residue in addition to fatty acid and alcohol. They contain carbohydrate residue. You see, in glycoproteins means glyco means carbohydrate but plus protein. Here also glycolipid, gly means it contains carbohydrates, so they contain carbohydrate residues in addition to fatty acid and alcohol. For all lipid, fatty acid and alcohol is the base. Okay, fatty acid and alcohol is the base, and rest it contains other conjugate compound. So under glycolipid, cerebroside, glucocerebroside, one more is there are four, sulfatide, that is sulfa galactosyl ceramide. Globosides is lactosyl ceramide. Ganglioside GM1 and GM2. GM1 is ganglio, name is GM1, and this GM2. These are the most important ganglioside present in brain, that is GM1 and GM2. G represent here ganglioside. M is actually monocyclic acid residue. It is acid, monocyclic acid. Mono. D means di. G means ganglioside. M means Monocylic acid. It contains sialic acid is a type of acid. Okay, so it is mainly present in the brain. So we completed under compound lipid, phospholipid, glycero, under phospholipid, glycerophospholipid and sphingophospholipid. Second is glycolipid, cerebroside, glucocerebroside, sulfatides, sulfa galactosyl ceramide, globoside, lactosyl ceramide, ganglioside GM1 and GM2. Next, lipoprotein. As the name indicates, lipid and protein combination. Okay, it is a complex lipid and protein. They are macromolecular complexes, lipid and protein. This particularly important under lipid profile testing in clinical lab. See, namely HDL, LDL, VLDL and all. Okay. So this lipoproteins means they are complexes of lipid plus protein, nothing but lipid plus protein. Chylomicrons, LDL means low density lipoprotein cholesterol, HDL means high density lipoprotein cholesterol, VLDL means very low density lipoprotein. Okay, so you may get one word question answer like what is the function of lipoprotein. So these lipoproteins are transport form of lipid, that is very important. They are transport form of lipid. They transport different lipids in blood. So what is the function of lipoprotein? They transport lipid. They are transport form of lipid. LDL transport cholesterol from liver to extrahepatic tissue. Okay, that is why LDL is bad cholesterol. LDL transport cholesterol from liver to extrahepatic tissue. From the liver to outside. Extrahepatic means, hepatic means liver, extrahepatic means outside the liver. So LDL transport cholesterol from liver to extrahepatic tissue. HDL transport cholesterol and cholesterol esters from extrahepatic tissue back to the liver. This entire one sentence, okay, what is given in front of HDL transport cholesterol and cholesterol esters from extrahepatic tissue back to the liver. So this is opposite to the action of LDL. LDL transport cholesterol from liver to extrahepatic tissue, but HDL transport cholesterol and cholesterol esters from extrahepatic tissue back to the liver. So there is no deposition of cholesterol in coronary arteries and also. That is why HDL cholesterol is called as good cholesterol, because it transport cholesterol and cholesterol esters from extrahepatic tissue back to liver. Okay. So third is, you have seen this one too. What are those? Just to see. Phospholipid, under complex glycolipid, under complex lipoprotein, HDL, LDL, VLDL and all. Next is second, after simple complex, third classification of lipid is derived. They derive from simple or compound lipid by hydrolysis. Hydrolysis means using the water molecule. Okay, reaction takes place using water molecule. So this derived lipid derived from simple or complex lipid by hydrolysis. Sterols and steroids. Example, cholesterol, okay, testosterone. They are sterols or steroid. Fatty acid, palmitic acid, 16 carbon, alcohol, cetyl alcohol, polyisoprenoid, vitamin K also a type of derived lipid. Okay. Fourth is miscellaneous lipid. They are compound possessing characteristic of lipid. They are not lipid actually, but they behave like possess characteristic of lipid. Carotenoids, pigment, color pigment in plant, carotenoids, beta carotene, which is present in the carrot, what we take that is plant origin, beta carotene. Carotenoid are color pigment which is present in plant. So they are they behave like characteristic of lipid. Squalene, which is a compound, okay, squalene is a compound which comes in cholesterol synthesis. Terpene also again, which is a plant origin. So these are miscellaneous lipids. Okay. Last, if you want, you can include neutral lipids. Lipids which are uncharged. Cholesterol and cholesterol esters are uncharged. Okay. So next, we will see the fatty acid. They are carboxylic acid with the hydrocarbon side chain. Okay, these fatty acids are carboxylic acid with hydrocarbon side chain. CH2, 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 hydrogen and carbon. So how they are classified? See, fatty acid are simplest form of lipid. Okay, again don't confuse classification of lipid and this fatty acid. Fatty acids are also lipid. They are simple form of lipid. Classification of fatty acid on the basis of side chain, on the basis of chain length, on the basis of total carbon atoms, on the basis of nature of chain, on the basis of synthesis in the body. Okay, this is nothing to explain because this is the classification. So classification of fatty acid. So classification of fatty acid, this palmitic acid, we will see just classification of fatty acid on the basis of chain length, short chain, medium chain and long chain and very long chain. Chain length 2 to 6 carbon means short chain, acetic acid, propionic acid. Medium chain means 12 carbon atoms, lauric acid, caproic acid. Long chain means 14 to 24 carbon, palmitic acid 16 carbon. Okay, stearic acid. Very long chain, it contains more than 24 atoms. So short 2 to 6 carbon, medium 8 to 12 carbon, long chain 14 to 24 carbon, very long chain more than 24 carbon atoms. So palmitic acid, this is not required for you, just I shown 16 carbon palmitic acid, 32 hydrogen and O2. So you can see there COH group 1 is there. Other than that, all first is CH3, last COOH carboxylic group, rest all CH2, 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 CH2. Okay, so which is a saturated fatty acid. Palmitic acid is most commonly produced from palm oil. It is used to making soap. Okay, see there, last COH group, in beginning CH3, remaining all CH2, CH2. That's why they are called hydrocarbon. Okay, so classification of fatty acid. Before, first classification is based on the chain length. Second classification of fatty acid on the base of total carbon. Odd chain or even. Odd, you know, 3, 5, 7 and all odd. Propionic acid 3 carbon, valeric acid 5 carbon. Even chain, palmitic acid 16 carbon. Even means 4, 6, 8 and all even number. Even means 4, 6, 8 even number. Okay, they contain even number of carbon atom. Butyric acid 4 carbon, for example palmitic acid 16 carbon, even number. So third basis on the nature of the chain, whether it is saturated or unsaturated. They do saturated, they do not contain any double bond in their chain. Butyric acid, lauric acid, palmitic acid, they are saturated without double bond in their chain. Unsaturated saturated fatty acid have double bond in their hydrocarbon chain. So unsaturated fatty acid, again mono unsaturated fatty acid and polyunsaturated fatty acid. MUFA and PUFA. What is the meaning of MUFA? Mono unsaturated. How this is classified? Based on the number of double bond they contain in the chain. Okay, without double bond, saturated fatty acid. Unsaturated, they have double bond in their hydrocarbon chain. Unsaturated, again MUFA and PUFA. Polyunsaturated, you have seen this PUFA in your cooking oil. If you go to supermarket and all, the cooking oil written PUFA contains vitamin D, PUFA and all. PUFA means polyunsaturated fatty acid. This contains more than one double bond. Example, linolenic acid, linoleic acid and arachidonic acid. Students, please remember these three names. They are essential fatty acid. Polyunsaturated fatty acid, PUFA or essential fatty acid. Linoleic acid, see their spelling LEIC, linoleic. Linolenic is LENIC, and arachidonic acid. Okay. Fourth one of classification of fatty acid on the basis of their synthesis in the body. Essential fatty acid, they are polyunsaturated, as I told, linoleic, linolenic and arachidonic acid. Non-essential palmitic acid and oleic acid, which can be synthesized in the body. Okay. Essential fatty acids, they cannot synthesized in the body, so they need to supply it from the diet. That's why they, hence the name essential fatty acid. They cannot be synthesized in the body, need to be supplied from the diet. Linoleic acid, linolenic acid and arachidonic acid. Remember this, because this you may get in short note, okay, or one word answer. So functions of these essential fatty acid, they are precursors of eicosanoids, that is local hormones. They help in the lipid transport by forming phospholipid. Their content of phospholipid, so you have seen the function of phospholipid. They help in the transport of lipid. They are essential component of cell membrane because they form phospholipid. Phospholipid is essential component of cell membrane, and they lower serum cholesterol level and hence produce anti-atherogenic effect because they form phospholipid again. So function of this essential fatty acid and phospholipid linked. Okay. Fifth function, they require normal reproductive function. They require for normal reproductive function because they present in gonads. They are important constituents of lipids of gonad. They also required for normal epidermal growth because important constituents of epidermal lipid. Which one? Essential fatty acids. They promote fat mobilization from liver, hence prevent fatty liver. This also a function of phospholipid. So these functions need to remember. So this essential fatty acid is one of the important short note question. Okay, thank you.